Appreciation Day at Arlington Stadium, and the fans are appreciating more than just Nolan Ryan. They like the scoreboard, as the other game of the day that is being watched very closely involves the Detroit Tigers and the Chicago White Sox. And before the Rangers even take the field, Norm Hitzges, it's happy news.
The Tigers have battered Cy Young candidate Jack McDowell to cover, knocking him out in the first inning. Big hits from Fielder and Davis. Detroit behind young John Doherty still hits in the first inning against reliever Kurt McCaskill, up 6-0.
That takes some of the pressure off the Rangers, but on the other hand, not so, because the opportunity to gain a full game is right in front of Texas. Here's the Minnesota batting order. Chuck Knobloch will be at second base. Rich Becker, the rookie, in center field. Kirby Puckett in right. Shane Mack in left. Brian Harper, the catcher. Chip Hale, the designated hitter. Then David McCarty at first base. Scott Stahoviak at third, and Denny Hawking at shortstop. The Ranger defense: Gonzalez, David Hulse back in the lineup with Rob Ducey in right. Palmer, Diaz, Strange, and Palmeiro. Rodriguez catches Nolan Ryan. A quick note on that outfield alignment. Reedus had to pull himself. The knee is a problem.
Ryan making just his 11th start of the year, coming off the disabled list for the third time this year, this time off the strained muscle in his lower rib cage in his last start, August 22nd.
And the first pitch is bounced on one hop to Palmer at third. That's one. Knobloch, the Houstonian, hitting .282 with 2 homers and 38 RBIs, and he is a quick first out.
Well, at this pace, Ryan can pitch a 27-pitch complete game.
Yeah, they're going to put a pitch limit on him, but it wouldn't be a problem if everyone did that. There you see the numbers for Nolan. They've not been great, of course, but he has certainly not had a healthy final season in the major leagues. He'll be facing Rich Becker, who is one of 5 Twins who have never struck out against Ryan, because most of them never faced anybody in the major leagues. Becker, a rookie, his debut in this series, and he takes a strike.
In fact, in the Twins lineup today, there are 5 hitters who literally have never faced Nolan Ryan: Becker, Hale, McCarty, Stahoviak, and Hawking.
Becker takes the pitch wide. Becker was playing at Nashville this year, and he hit .287 with 15 homers, 66 RBIs, and he stole 29 bases. He has 2 hits and 6 major league at-bats in this series. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 91 degrees, breezy, and partly cloudy here at Arlington Stadium. Every single seat has been sold, and folks are still coming in. High fastball, and the count goes even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ryan had a simulated game that he pitched on Tuesday. He pronounced himself fit following that game. He had no problems with the rib cage muscle on the left side.
Becker was born after Nolan Ryan had completed his 3rd major league season.
Here's the 2-2. A little bit low. Home plate umpire is Derwood Merrill from Hooks, Texas.
And by the way, that's really good news for Ryan. He's thrown 3 games with Derwood behind home plate, and every one of them has been a terrific game. In 24 innings with Derwood behind the plate, Ryan has struck out 33 men.
Foul back. Count still full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Becker. The crowd, tickets sold over 41,000. And the festivities began about an hour and a half ago with the banner parade, part of which you saw.
Greg, this is going to be a red letter day in Dallas-Fort Worth. There will be more than 100,000 people pay their way into the Ranger-Cowboy combination afternoon games.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Becker with 1 out in the first. And he walks.
Boy, a lot of patience for a kid facing Nolan Ryan on Nolan Ryan Appreciation Day.
Well, Becker walked 94 times in 138 games at Nashville, so he's no stranger to knowing what the strike zone is.
And Greg, you know what you got to love about Becker? This kid is 21 years old. This is a high school player in the major leagues after just 3 years. That is really rare. How long did it take Palmer? 5.5 years out of high school? It really tells you how good a player Becker's going to be.
Kirby Puckett hit a grand slam home run, which gave the Twins a lead temporarily last night. 20 homers, 81 RBIs. You got to watch Becker at first with the 29 steals, and Ryan's inability to hold runners generally.
Boy, nice wide play by Rodriguez.
Yeah, he saved a runner in scoring position.
That was an outstanding play. This ball gets away from Pudge and most other catchers in the league a majority of the time. That's a terrific play.
To short hop it and not even backhanded, getting underneath it was the tough part. And the count goes 2 balls and no strikes to Puckett. One thing that is tough to judge from simulated games that Nolan threw on Tuesday is actual control. To be quite honest, they have a designated player or coach that's calling balls and strikes, but they can usually be talked out of some of the close ones. So you really couldn't tell what kind of control Nolan had Tuesday or will have today. 2 balls and no strikes. So far, not good.
You don't think Nolan gets the advantage of calls in simulated games? Is that what you're telling us?
He occasionally will give one. But generally speaking, he'll say, that looked like a strike to me. And it's 3 balls and no strikes to Puckett. He's got to be careful here.
Well, while the Twins lineup is populated by baby faces, the middle contains 3 rugged hitters.
Going on the 3-0, and he fouls it back. 3 balls and 1 strike.
Because the middle of this lineup, Puckett, Mack, and Harper are all healthy, and they're all hitting well right now.
Well, and Puckett against the Rangers has hit homers in 3 of his last 4 games against the Rangers.
Well, that's been his career, though. Puckett's whole career, he's tortured Texas.
Not quite 3 out of every 4.
No. He's a
3 balls and a strike.
.310 hitter for his career with 14 homers against Texas.
That pitch is wide.
Now,
that average, I think, is a little under his. Yeah, it's under his career average, 321.
Greg, this is a great spot if the Twins want to run Becker. He's got good speed. Puckett's ahead in the count. Good spot to run Becker.
Doesn't go. The pitch is a strike. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I'm not sure what Kirby was complaining on that pitch about. Maybe he was just saying it was a good pitch because it's hard to throw one low to him. Maybe that movement. That almost came back around the outside.
I don't think Kirby thought that ball was at the knees.
Count is full.
Usually the hitter will say something like, hey, that's Nolan Ryan. He doesn't need help.
At first base on the 3-2 pitch, you can almost be sure that Becker's going to give it a shot. A couple of reasons. One, Tom Kelly wants to see what kind of a base runner he really has. He stole 29 in Double-A, but that was Double-A. And you got a good hitter here, so you've got to send him on 3-2. And they do. Swing and a miss. Punch a throw. Out, double play.
Terrible pitch that Puckett swings at, but Rodriguez nails the runner.
The top of the first is over. Rangers coming up. We'll check the order. These men have gotten off the field in great shape, and now the batting order will have Rob Ducey in right field, Doug Strange at second base, Rafael Palmeiro at first base, Juan Gonzalez in left field, Julio Franco the designated hitter, then Ivan Rodriguez catches, Dean Palmer at third base, David Hulse in center field, and Mario Diaz the shortstop. Here's the defense for the Twins. Some familiar names, a lot not. Mack in left, Becker in center, Puckett in right, Stahoviak is at third, Hocking at shortstop, Knobloch at second, McCarty first. Harper catches Kevin Tapani.
Tapani is 29 years old, mixes a fastball, a curveball, and 2 different changeups, a straight change and a splitter. Tapani was in the midst of a horrible year, but has picked it up since the All-Star break to get back to 8-14. Tapani has won 5 and lost 3 in his last 11, and his earned run average is in the 3s. This is one durable, terrific young pitcher. He has not missed a start since August of 1990. That's a span of 101 consecutive starts. His career record against the Rangers, 5-3, and that includes 2-0 in this stadium.
Here's that Detroit-Chicago game in the first, actually now batting in the bottom of the first. In Toronto with a lead over California in the 5th. Kansas City over New York 4th. Just some of the updated around baseball. Big story, of course, as far as the Rangers concerned, that Detroit-Chicago game. Now the Rangers need to score some runs. Rob Ducey, 333, no homers, 6 RBIs. He's had a habit of leading off ball games with hits, and he takes the first pitch for a strike. He started 10 of the last 13 games in center, starts this one in right. He was going to be the center fielder, but Gary Reedus' knee's a problem after playing last night, the doubleheader the night before, and so it gives the Rangers an opportunity to get David Hulse back into the lineup in center field. And It makes the Rangers pretty doggone strong on the right side defensively in the outfield. They should cover all the gaps.
Makes them pretty fast also.
Ducey leading off. Hulse is batting in the 8th slot. Played all year at Oklahoma City until coming up. That's looped foul into the crowd. First souvenir of the Ranger half.
Tapani's 14 losses are already a career high, but he's coming off maybe his best game of the season. It was a shutout of the Indians.
He also has a good record lifetime against the Rangers. Pretty low earned run average, I think in the low 3s. Bouncing ball out to Knobloch at second base. 1 out.
One other thing about Tapani is really intriguing, and that's he's a late season pitcher. He is not very good in April and May, but he's been sensational his career from June on. He's 39-25 in his career once they hit the 1st of June.
Astros on to a good start against the Phillies, as you see. Doug Strange, 254, 6 homers, 51 runs batted in.
Phillies are in danger of getting run down in that East also.
There's a looper that'll be in for a base hit. Doug Strange will be at first base. He'll take the turn and hold with the game's first safety.
You know, Greg, a lot of things have to happen for a team to put together a 6-game win streak like the Rangers have. And one of the things that seems to have happened this week is the Rangers are hitting in fantastic luck. They've had a lot of bloopers and chinks and dribblers find holes and pop flies and shanks hit safely, and they really have hit in some luck this week. There
was a good example. Of course, Gary Reedus' base hit that won the ball game, the second game of the doubleheader, was a broken bat that just got over the shortstop. Of course, this guy has hit some out of the yard, including last night, his 35th. He now has 96 RBIs and a batting average of .311. Rafael Palmeiro fouls it back. That hit is his only one in the last 6 at-bats, that home run last night. But .480 in the last 7 games. Of course, 6 of those make up this homestand, so he has been red hot.
If you're sitting at home thinking, why don't the Rangers take a pitch or two for Tapani? Forget it. This guy never walks anybody.
You get up there and be aggressive. The 0-1 runner goes at first. Hit and run. Throw through by Harper. Is in. Not in time. He missed the tag. He got in with a hand. Throw got down there pretty well, but it was offline and a stolen base. And by the way, we have an itch in the steal contest winner before he even knows he's in the contest. Greg Wolf, you are the winner of $100. He was going to be today's itch in the steal contestant from Desenex. And I'm not sure he made that by the whole lot, but he wins $100, and he's now entered into the grand prize drawing for a weekend at spring training and will receive 2 tickets to a Ranger home game. Don't forget, you can pick up your entry form at any Albertsons. Greg Wolf, a winner this afternoon. Now in scoring position for Palmeiro, who swings and misses, and he's fooled badly. Now Chicago has scored 3 in the first. I wonder if Frank Thomas hit long.
Well, when Chicago does something in the first,
he almost has always something to do with it.
He tends to be in the middle of things, doesn't he?
2 outs. Boy, Tapani took care of Palmeiro rather easily.
Well, Greg, this kid is a quality pitcher. He got off to just a horrible, horrible beginning this year. But he's really put it together since the All-Star break.
Gonzalez 8 for his last 19 with 2 homers and 5 RBIs on this homestand. 43 all told. Runner in scoring position. No score in the game. There's that fairly high strike zone from Durwood Merrill. No balls and a strike.
Tapani's pitched twice against the Rangers this year. He lost in the Metrodome on the 31st of May, 1-0 to Charlie Lebrand. Then he won here June 10th, despite allowing a season-high 10 hits.
There's a shot toward the middle, base hit. Here comes Doug Strange with the first Ranger run. It's 1-0 Texas.
Now let's flip the coin over. In Chicago, they're going to see a run go up in the bottom of the first for the Rangers. They're going to say, I wonder if Juan Gonzalez did anything.
Well, he just did something. RBI number 110.
Second time in 2 games that Gonzalez has just been a good hitter with a pitch. Met it, drove it. Didn't overswing. Rangers get a run.
Of course, the shortstop overshifted against the hard pull hitter. And that gave him some room. And Doug Strange, who had the Ranger first hit on a stolen base, comes home, and Rangers manufactured that one with a couple of singles. Here's Julio Franco. Franco has hit safely in 10 of the last 11. Takes the first pitch for a strike. His average at 290. He's raised his average the last 26 games, 17 points, 14 homers, 73 runs batted in.
And the streak is now 60 of 61 games, reaching base safely for Franco.
By the way, the White Sox didn't get any more than 3 in the first. They got just the 3, and so the Tigers are now batting. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gonzalez at first base. Franco the hitter. Rangers leading 1-0, bottom of the first. In tight.
Rangers today going for what would be a season best 7-game win streak.
Well, if you're going to win big prizes, you got to have a streak, and the Rangers are having it now, and they need it to continue. They've still got 3 more home games on this stand. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll have all of them for you, including Tuesday night when Norm and I go back out in the center field bleachers. Hope you join us.
Definitely come out and see us Tuesday night. Meanwhile, Franco, whose contract is up at the end of the season, saying he wants to be a second baseman again next year. I'm not sure that's the role the Rangers would want him back in, but he says he wants to play second base for somebody next year. One gets the feeling that statement made to maybe increase his bargaining power with some national teams. National League.
Oh, I think there's positions he could play, but I don't see the middle infield anymore. Here's the 3-1, and that pitch is a ball.
No, I don't either. With the nimbleness necessary for middle infield play, Julio's knees, while they're better, a lot better, that's not a position you'd like to trust Julio full-time in, you wouldn't think.
Mahler with a big homer there. You know, we're hearing a lot of people writing off Canseco as being an outfielder, and the reality is that may be premature. He's not a pitcher. Pitchers have come back from that surgery, which, by the way, you notice in the national press they keep saying he had shoulder surgery in a couple places. Well,
yes.
It was elbow. But pitchers have come back from that, and 18 months that quickly. Well, he's not a pitcher.
Amen. The last time we saw him, he certified that. He is not a pitcher.
The point I'm making is don't automatically think that he can't play the outfield anymore.
And again, like we mentioned the other night, Kevin Kennedy saying Friday morning on our talk show that he'd already talked to Canseco, who said he was receptive to converting to first base next year if the Rangers needed him to do it. 1
ball and no strikes to Ivan Rodriguez. Swings and misses. Ivan having a little trouble over the last few games, hitless in his last 13 at-bats and 2 for his last 19. So he needs to get straightened away. The Rangers could use a base hit here. 1 ball and 1 strike. That's foul away. In his career, just 9 at-bats against Tapani. Ivan has a couple of hits. Rangers have 1 run and 2 hits here in the bottom of the first. Tigers no runs. They had a walk. Nolan Ryan Appreciation Day. And by the way, don't forget, even after this game is over, stay with us because we will cover all of the festivities. In fact, we'll have more than just the festivities. Norm's going to go down to the gathering area and talk to some folks that are on hand, and then we'll bring you the ceremonies that follow. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
We mentioned not to bother waiting for Tapney to walk you. In his last 16 starts, he's never walked more than 2 men. In those 16 starts, a total of 20 walks. In his entire career, he's walked more than 3 men 4 times.
2-2 to Rodriguez, loop back foul as he stays alive, and it's still 2-2.
Greg, of the starters in the American League, as UCA sold out Arlington Stadium, can you think of anybody better than Tapani's career average of 1.9 walks per 9 innings?
Not presently. That's presently.
I mean, there's some relievers. I mean, Eckersley's got fabulous control as a reliever, but as starters, this may be the best control pitcher in the major leagues, 1.89.
Probably is now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled away to stay alive. Pud's doing a good job shortening the swing just a little bit to spoil a few, waiting for that mistake that he hopes Tapani can come through with. Tapani a native of Iowa, facing a young but hard-slugging native of Puerto Rico.
One more thing Tapani's been doing much better of late. He's been keeping the ball in the park. 6 of his last 8 starts, he hasn't yielded a home.
Runners going. Pitch is driven to left field high and deep and back. And the wind is going to bring it into Shane Mack's glove. And that retires this side as we take a look at Nolan Ryan's great moment, his 5,000th strikeout. Your Sherman, Texas fans say thank you, Nolan Ryan. This copyrighted program presented by the authority of Major League Baseball and the Texas Rangers, intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written permission of Major League Baseball, the Texas Rangers, and home sports entertainment is prohibited. There you feel some of that heat. Nolan Ryan is feeling it. It is 92 degrees and mostly sunny, but very breezy. In fact, the ball that Rodriguez hit, when it was first hit, Mack headed directly for the warning track. He thought it had a chance. The wind, if you look at the flags, is blowing toward the foul pole in left, but that means it is heavy, and that means it's getting caught and it's swirling, and that one just killed it. Now let's see if it kills this one. Gonzalez going over toward the line, and that one got killed out of here. Home run. Didn't kill that one. Shane Mack used that wind, and that time he got it high enough, and the wind kept it over the yard, and it's tied at 1. And they will be urged to throw the ball back. And they did.
Oh, no. Now, see, that takes a little gumption. I mean, what happens, Lord unwilling, if Ryan leaves here with a ribcage muscle pull again, never pitches again? You could have the ball he last yielded for a homer, and 10 years from now, somebody sells that someplace for like $15,000. You say, oh, yeah, I threw that one back.
He just got this one up. This is Shane Mack's 10th of the season.
He also gets it right down the line where the distance is a little shorter. And the ball wasn't quite as high as Rodriguez. It stayed below the rim of the ballpark.
2 balls and no strikes to Harper. Harper hitting .306 with 12 homers and 67 runs batted in. The first hit given up by Ryan is the first run. 4th home run he surrendered this year. There's a fist job to right field. Doug Strange has to race back. Still going, and he takes it again. He is Mr. Pop Fly Specialist. That's 1 out. Go fish at Long John Silver's, where right now you can go for one of 3 great special meals, each just $1.99 at Long John Silver's, where America goes for fish. Today's game also brought to you by the Dallas Morning News. Catch all the action in Sports Day every day only in the Dallas Morning News. The hitter is Chip Hale, the designated hitter. .317, 3 homers, 21 runs batted in. Another one of the young players this club is taking a look at. Strike on the first pitch. 5 for 151 in the last 57 games. He came up in June.
Wait a minute. What'd you say there? 5 for 151?
I said 51 for 151, didn't I?
I was going to say, no, you said 5. I was going to say, now there is a slump.
Yeah, well, he's just the opposite. 338. No balls and 2 strikes.
People listening out there saying, why are they playing this Yahoo?
Well, one reason they're playing him, despite the fact that he is actually hitting .338 over the last number of games, is Kent Hrbek isn't here. That's a swing and a foul tip. There's an update again from the pennant races. The Astros with a big lead over Philadelphia.
Montreal win could pull them within 5.
Hrbek has a sick daughter. Let me finish that. That's one of the reasons we haven't seen him at all.
And Steve Balboni, mammoth first baseman for the Rangers, also not here. Home in New Jersey with, like Hrbek, an illness in the family.
No balls and 2 strikes to Hale. This is outside.
By the way, Manny Lee not playing again today. Even if Manny were well, you get a feeling Kevin wouldn't play him. With the way Mario Diaz has played the last few days, Manny bothered by the flu this weekend.
No, Mario's back to being Super Mario again once the mumps passed, or the chicken pox. Missing outside. Ryan trying to paint the corner. The count is 2-2. There's 1 out in the second, 1 run in on Shane Mack's solo homer. The game is tied at 1.
Did you see the note that last night was the 900th Ranger win in Arlington Stadium?
Well, they've got a chance for 910 if they win out. They've got 10 more games. Here's the 2-2. This is what hurts. Nolan, you know, we've seen this pattern. He'll get ahead of somebody, and then he just can't put him away. He tries to make that perfect pitch. He's not the only pitcher that sometimes has that problem, but this Twin team has got a bunch of takers.
Well,
except for Kirby Puckett.
Yeah, who should have taken, by the way, and would have had Ryan in big trouble in the first inning. He'd taken a bad pitch on 3-2.
Missed. Had him 0-2 and lost him.
What bothers you here is not only the base runner when you were way ahead in the count, but again, you go back to the thought the Rangers are going to go 90 to 100 pitches with Ryan today, and there's a half dozen to Hale without getting an out.
He'll face another man that he has never faced before, David McCarty, like Knobloch, a Texan by way of Stanford University. He's from the Houston area, went to Sharpstown High School. Knobloch went to Bel Air. McCarty hitting .230 with a homer and 14 runs batted in. There's a strike on the inside corner.
Boy, has that Stanford program started to produce players or what?
They've really had some good ones. They've won a couple national championships. They've had good pitchers. They've had good hitters. I mean,
Musina.
No Musina. You know Helling. You know Sprague, who was a third baseman there, and they tried to turn him into a catcher, and he's back as a third baseman again in Toronto. You got this guy, McCarty. Baltimore's got one. He's an outfielder.
Jeffrey Hammonds.
Well, they've got another one too. But yeah, there's another. Paul Carey. That's the other one. In fact, he won one of the College World Series championships with a big homer.
Yeah, they really have a wonderful program going out at Stanford.
There's a strike.
Beauty.
1 ball and 2 strikes on McCarty.
Against Ryan this year, he's allowing opponents to hit only .219. Even with all the struggles with injuries, this league is still only hitting .219 against Ryan in his 10 starts.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Short lead at first. Little chopper. It is a foul ball now. Or is he out? He ran into the ball in fair territory. What happened there was McCarty ran into the ball where it was in foul territory, and there may be a little discussion here. Tom Kelly is coming out. You can't hit the ball while you're out of the batter's box in fair territory.
In fair territory, that's right. And McCarty's saying, wait a minute here. Ooh, David's unhappy.
Umpire didn't see him. Third base umpire's ignoring it, and Derwood Merrill didn't see him. Second base umpire did, but he's not paying attention. Otherwise, he would have been ejected.
Wayne Terwilliger at first base is trying to get the first base umpire, Drew Coble, to help here.
It either didn't hit him. He's acting like it hit him.
Yeah, that's the call.
You know, I think that's the call. Of course, now there was an interference possibility, but I think he was calling that it hit him.
Exactly. Merrill's call, he pointed at McCarty and then signaled out, indicating that the ball hit McCarty in fair territory. Well, the first thing McCarty did wrong was he's got to go to foul territory there. He puts himself in danger when he runs in fair territory. If that ball kicks foul, hits McCarty, it's simply nothing more than a foul ball.
Yeah, the putout goes to the catcher. I'm wondering, though, I think really, the more I look at that, I'm thinking he could have called interference on that, too, not allowing Rodriguez to field the ball. But I think my first judgment was that it was because he thought it hit it in fair territory. In any event, there are 2 outs, and the hitter is Stachowiak.
By the way, Montreal has gotten a run in the bottom of the 6th to lead Cincinnati 2-1 and continues to hit as that race conceivably tightens another game.
Hale is at first. The pitch is wide. And the count 2 balls and no strikes to Stachowiak, who made his major league debut on this series. 143 so far, 1 hit.
And the Tiger game against the White Sox has now gone to the top of the 3rd. So Doherty has settled down and it's still 6-3 Detroit, top 3.
Stachowiak played this year at Nashville with .272, 12 homers, 56 runs batted in. Fly ball curving into the stands.
Greg, just in case people want to write down tentative Ryan starts for the rest of the season here, and this is really tentative, as you well know, with all the injuries and the Ranger staff. Tentatively, After today, he starts the 18th of September at California, the 24th of September at Chicago, and the 29th of September here.
That would be it if everything falls together, and he doesn't fall apart.
You want some intrigue? You want a real piece of intrigue? If the Rangers and White Sox tie at the end of the season and they go to a one-game playoff, it would be Ryan's turn to pitch.
That would be very, very significant. Certainly, if he's healthy and going hard at that point. 3 balls and a strike here to Stachowiak. Struck him out, and he joins the list. That's only strike 2. Check that. He's not on it yet. I jumped the gun.
Well, I believe the board did also.
Yeah, it had 2 strikes on 1 early. It is now 3 balls and 2 strikes. There are 2 outs. Runner at first will get a jump now. High fly ball, center field. Coming in for it is Strange. Well, now moving over toward the left. There's a good example of the wind. That really blew over toward left after it left the infield. We've got 2 outs. We'll go down to the farm and check in on Nolan as the Rangers get set to bat in the second. Is Dean Palmer as he leads off in the bottom of the second. Dean 239, 28 homers, 84 runs batted in. It is a 1-1 ball game. Rangers scoring on an RBI hit by Gonzalez. The Twins scoring on a solo homer by Shane Mack. 1 ball and a strike to Palmer.
By the way, just one more note, Greg. We mentioned just before the end of the last half inning that Ryan is scheduled September 24th. That would be the start of that 3-game series in Chicago, tentatively, followed by Brown and Rogers. And that's, again, we stress this is all tentative right now.
That's if the 5 men that are in the rotation now all are able to hang together and stay healthy. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Palmer stays off the pitch outside. Here's an update now. They're in the bottom of the 3rd. Toronto trying to move around and take some ground in the east. Ball's lined into left field for a base hit. Stopped by Mack on 1 hop. Palmer with the Rangers' 3rd single. With David Hulse coming up and Palmer at first base, the Rangers want to try some things. They certainly can. Kansas City giving New York trouble.
Everybody's given the Yankees trouble lately. Or the Yankees may look back at this week and say this is where it disappeared on us. That trip to Chicago and Kansas City.
David Hulse has not started for 13 games due to problems with his left hamstring. He did pinch hit and had a very key pinch hit in a Ranger victory in Boston. But he has been sidelined for 13. Swings and misses at the first one.
Hulse, before it all, was in a really good run. He's dragged his batting average up from 264 to 289 over a 45-game stretch and is hit in 33 of the last 38. Still has 24 steals and 10 triples despite a lot of gimpiness of late.
Got a bunt. Oh, David normally a very good bunter, but not always a sacrificer. He's good for bunting for a hit, and he was trying to sacrifice, and if you were watching that closely, you saw he made a cardinal error. He didn't really get the head of the bat out in front, and he fouled it. No balls and 2 strikes.
And again, Hulse was not supposed to be in the lineup, as Greg told you earlier. He was a very late insertion into the 8 hole. They moved Doug Strange, who was scheduled to hit 8th, up to number 2 to replace Reedus.
No balls and 2 strikes. David slaps it foul past Dave Oliver, and there are a number of extra photographers lined up along the sides of the barrier, keeping the box seat patrons from the field. And there you see them. It is a big night. There are a lot of freelance photographers that are working tonight and today, because there are a couple of big sporting events Norm mentioned, both going on here, and they're always very fully staffed.
Yeah. and a rematch of the Super Bowl champions just across town, basically.
No balls and 2 strikes to David, and he takes it inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Greg, I say this in all honesty. I listened to some of the radio sports talk shows this morning, and for the first time since I've been a reporter in this market, I heard people call and say, "Oh, the heck with the Cowboys. They've got 14 games left this year. We're going to go out and see Ryan play. watch him on TV."
1 ball and 2 strikes. Palmer goes. Swing and a miss. The throw from Harper is not there. Does he stay on the base? Yes! Stolen base.
Boy, Dean has had a lot of trouble with oversliding. He got called out on an overslide the other night. Would have gotten called out at third when he overslid later in Friday night's game, and almost got called out here for oversliding.
He grabs it, and he just holds on. Although, to be honest, I'm not quite sure how John Hirschbeck could tell.
No, I don't think John could either. I think that was the, I have to see it to believe it.
Well, here's a good person to have on with a runner in scoring position, Mario Diaz. Has he been doing the job? He started now 4 straight games at short, 7 for his last 12. His average has gone up 20 points. He fouls the ball into the stands.
You know, with all the other awards, I'm certainly not bucking the baseball ad awards, but shouldn't there be an award for, you got that kind of production from him of the year award?
No balls and a strike. See the quote in the paper, Tom Kelly, he said on the Twins bench yesterday, Mario doing all this damage in this series, they were all saying, Manny who? It's on the Twins bench.
That may be a little closer to the truth for Manny than he wants to realize also. Mario keeps playing like this. Manny's going to have a hard time getting minutes.
Here's the 1-1. There's his strike. Took a little bit off. Took it right down the pipe. One other thing that has made Mario so effective is he gets the bat on the ball. Now, certainly a 277 hitter means he doesn't always get hits, but I think he struck out, what, about 12 times.
In over 200 at bats.
He's only walked 6, so I mean, he does get the bat on the ball, literally. Usually. He just struck out for number 13. There's 2 outs.
On behalf of Mario, thanks for bringing up that strikeout stat,
That's
Greg.
exactly right. That didn't help me much there, did it? Today's game is being brought to you by Hooters, sporting good times for your friends and family at Hooters, home of the world's most famous wings. And Texaco System 3 gasolines in every grade. System 3 helps make a difference in your car's performance. Rob Ducey grounded out in the first. Runner at second base is Palmer. He singled, stole second, still there.
Ooh.
And there's a good pitch on the outside corner.
Ooh. Tapany's thrown some dynamite splitters this inning. It's funny, that pitch that we refer to as a split finger or a fork ball or a split fingered fastball, you can throw it at different speeds. Tapany uses it as a changeup.
That's a bloop foul back into the crowd. That was the favorite pitch of the man who really gained the most fame for throwing a fork ball. That was Elroy Face. That was what he threw in relief for the Pirates. He threw a fork ball, which was a changeup, which sunk and wasn't the later named split finger fastball, which had more speed on it.
That Suter popularized.
Yes. No balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, the split finger has undergone, forkball split finger, what do you call it, has undergone a sort of a metamorphosis from a changeup off speed to a power pitch for people like Suter and Morris and Scott, and then back to, for Tapany, a really effective off-speed pitch.
1-2 pitch to Ducey. Stays off, and he's even in the count, 2-2. It's 1-1 here.
Well, this is the situation where Tapany, most pitchers go to curveball, fastball when they get even an account. Tapany will often go back to the split finger changeup in this situation and wear it outside.
Here's a 2-2 pitch.
There it is.
Left it high, and it was fouled back just into the upper deck right behind home plate. Obviously a pretty nice catch by the reaction of the fans.
Either that or a really good-looking person. Can't tell the difference sometimes.
Usually they're running down the aisles behind the box seats when they get the greatest reaction. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Palmer at second base. The game is even at 1.
There it is again.
3 strikeouts in a row after the base hit, and the 3 out of the 4 that he has struck out come in this inning. We've played 2. It's 1-1. For his competitive spirit and dedication to excellence, Southwest Airlines proudly salutes Nolan Ryan. We are going to the 3rd. It will be the number 9 man in the Minnesota batting order in the top. Denny Hocking, the shortstop, Chuck Knobloch, the second baseman, and Rich Becker, the center fielder. Nolan Ryan has given up just 1 hit. He has walked 2. The 1 hit was a solo homer by Shane Mack. The game is tied at 1. Hocking takes a strike on the outside. Hocking, another one of these that Nolan will be facing, and will be facing him for the first time. His major league debut was in game 1 of the doubleheader. He played this season at Nashville at 267. Pitches wide with 8 homers, 50 RBIs. He started a little bit late because he broke an ankle in the spring. 1 ball and 1 strike. He still got 107 games in at Nashville. One ball and 2 strikes. He joined us late. Detroit scored 6 in the first in their game in Chicago. They lead now 6-3, but they still are on top. The Rangers here even.
Good news is that game's gone to the top of the 4th, meaning Doherty got him out again in the bottom of the 3rd.
Once again, after getting 2 strikes, I'm not sure if he's trying to be too fine or he just not trying to throw it there, and it's just not finding the strike zone. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. And these Twins young hitters look like they know the strike zone pretty well. Here's the 2-2. Well, that one didn't take any thinking at all there. 3 balls and 2 strikes. There it is in the bottom of the, well, still top of the 4th according to the scoreboard here in the Kansas City, New York game. Kansas City rolling on. We'll be popping these in throughout the day. Keep you even more updated than normal. That's fouled back. Still full.
And again, here's a Twins leadoff hitter making Ryan go 7 pitches deep in the count.
Temperature's actually gone up a degree since game time on the big board. It's 93 right now. Here's the full count pitch with the leadoff man. Slapped into left field for a base hit, and that's a memory that he'll remember because he's going to get a double. The outfield was playing shallow, and Hocking goes into second base on a ball that gapped. Not only were they playing shallow, they had the overshift on, and Gonzalez was way over more toward the line and couldn't get to that ball. It got out there quickly.
Seldom do you see a ball on grass do this, but when you see a ball hit on the line that hits the outfield grass and still gets up the gap, you know that ball was smoked. Hocking saying, how'd this guy stay in the major leagues 27 years with that kind of stuff?
Yeah, he's going to remember that he got a base hit off Nolan Ryan. Here's Chuck Knobloch now with a runner in scoring position. That's the tiebreaker. Knobloch has not had a good series. He usually does pretty well here. Hits the ball high in the air to right field. Runner at second tagging. This is short, though. Ducey makes the catch, and the fire across is right there. Oh, boy. Oh, that was a strike. It wasn't classic textbook because it was maybe a little high. There was no way in the world anybody cuts it, but if they're going to be on target like that, who cares? Look at this throw.
Greg, we've remarked over the last week and a half since Ducey's been here, this guy looks like he has really good tools.
Center fielder Rich Becker.
Hey, Greg, I got a question for you. Ryan's on a pitch count. He's struggling to throw strikes. You got a leadoff man on with a double, and Knobloch swings at the first pitch again. That's 2 first pitch outs. Knobloch's a very good player, but wouldn't you have a temptation to take one there or consider dropping a bunt? Or
well, there are 2 ways to look at it. The way you're looking at it, and also the way is that he's going to lay it in here because he doesn't want to walk me. He wants to get ahead of me, and apparently that's what the pitch looked like to Knobloch. He also wouldn't have mind hitting it to the right side as he did to get the runner to third. That was really his primary purpose. There's a swing and a miss. Rich Becker. Becker walked the first time up.
But Becker's got a swing like he's got a set of Walt Riniak batting tapes at home.
Yeah, doesn't he?
He's got the Riniak release and fly.
He led Nashville in runs, total base, triples, and walk. By the way, that's the Nashville Double-A team. There were 2 teams in Nashville this year. Off the end of the bat, tough play for Palmer. Got to use that arm, and it's good enough. Runner goes to third base now, and Hawking there, 2 outs. Here are Sherwin-Williams' leaders stat board, but we're looking at one leader. Nolan Ryan, all-time stats. 7 no-hitters, 12 one-hitters, 27 years, and of course the strikeouts, walks. He's going to face Kirby Puckett with a runner at third and 2 outs. He struck Kirby out the first time, struck him out into a double play as Becker was thrown out trying to take second base.
With Tapani looking like in the second inning he'd really settled in with his stuff. Important not to fall behind the Twins here.
I think the big thing, I think you're right, don't fall behind them, certainly by not more than a run or 2, because Tapani's not likely going to pitch a complete game. You get to the bullpen, you got a whole different set of circumstances, but you don't want to be too far back.
Well, and you sure don't want to get to the bullpen and have to try to beat Aguilera.
You don't want to get to the 9th in the bullpen and be behind.
No, even the 8th. Aggie's been well rested in this series, and if they had a chance to beat the Rangers today, you get a feeling Aguilera would come in here in the 8th inning to try to save it. And Aguilera has been like a cup of hemlock to the Rangers.
1 ball and no strikes to Puckett. Broken bat, Blue. Can Strange get to it? Yes, sir. That retires the side. No runs. A leadoff double. 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. Rangers have Strange, Palmeiro, and Gonzalez in this 1-1 tie.
Home run prediction contest.
Rangers coming up in the 3rd with a 1-1 ball game. It'll be the 2, 3, and 4 hitters against Frank Tapani, who gave up a leadoff hit to Palmer in the 2nd, but then successively struck out Hulse, Diaz, and Ducey. He has 4 strikeouts. Palmeiro, the other that he fanned in the 1st. Strange singled and stole a base and scored the Ranger run the first time up.
Greg, it's obviously an NFL Sunday, so we'll start slipping some final scores in for you. Phoenix has beaten Washington 17-10, and Mark Rippon damaged a knee. Left, and we'll get a report later on tonight. Preliminary prognosis, torn ligament.
Strange going to try to bunt. If that pitch had been over the strike zone, that would have been a good one to drag because it was inside, but it was too far in, and it's 1 ball and a strike.
Giants bounced Tampa Bay around 23-7. Indianapolis beat Cincinnati 9-6.
That was the Indianapolis Indians of AAA and the Cincinnati Reds, their parent club, right?
And Philadelphia goes into Green Bay and rallies for 13 fourth-quarter points to beat the Packers 20-17.
2 balls and a strike to Doug Strange, leading off the 3rd in a 1-1 tie. Bouncing ball to Knobloch at 2nd. 1 out. Reminder that today's game is being brought to you by Chevron, the only gasoline with Techroline. Chevron, simply smarter. Take time out to quench your thirst at 7-Eleven, your total beverage center, with the best selection of already cold beverages in the variety and sizes you want. Oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven. Palmeiro struck out his first at bat in the 1st. And he's going to be an easy ground ball victim here. McCarty, Tapani, 2 down.
Hey, Greg. This is looking a lot too easy, the last 4 or 5 guys that batted for them.
Yeah, all of the stuff looks real good, and they just can't get the fat part of the bat on it. Here's Gonzalez, who got enough on it in the 1st inning to drive in a run with a single. It's 1-1. Well, you know, though, when you get down into the pennant race, your pitching staff is what has to hold up, because those other guys, particularly when you go head-to-head with contenders, they're going to be on. The Rangers showed that in the doubleheader victory the other night with a 4-3 and 3-2 pair of wins. You just got to hang in close. And that's kind of what they did last night. They jumped out to a 3-0 lead, but then lost the lead 4-3. But they hung on close, came back and got the final 4 runs of the game.
Isn't it funny how all 4 divisions, the trackers are running down the leaders? Baltimore and the Yankees have been stalking the Blue Jays. The Rangers are stalking the White Sox. The Braves have stalked and caught the Giants, and Montreal's stalking the Phillies.
Bouncing ball. It's going to be like the old line that is used in other sports that, you know, just watch the last 2 minutes. Because it's getting that way. The way the teams that have the big leads are having trouble late. And it's primarily because someone else is getting red hot. That's the key. Early in the year, maybe no one else was hot at all.
Yep. Like they say at the racetrack, ooh, where's the finish line?
Staying alive, and he fouls it away. Gonzalez. We hope to have Juan as one of the 2 portions of Sports Talk tomorrow night. Tony Casillas would be the first portion with Norm, and then we'd have a conversation with Juan Gonzalez leading into the first game of the 3-game series with the Cleveland Indians. And that all gets underway tomorrow night. Sports Talk at 7.
That'll be Brown versus Mesa. We will also have Tuesday night's game. Our game in the bleachers is Rogers versus Clark, and our Wednesday night game is Liebrandt versus Ojeda.
High on the pitch, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Now again, this is where Tapani, even in the count, will sometimes pitch a little backward. He will go back to the split finger off speed.
Well, I think he'd go to that off, even if that was his other pattern against Gonzalez. Well, he missed wide, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
He went to the curveball. A pitch, by the way, that Juan's been biting on of late.
Here, if you're the pitcher, you don't throw him a fastball. You throw him the split finger. You throw him the curveball away. You don't throw him a fastball. And Juan's got to be aware of it and make sure it's a strike. And it wasn't, and he struck out. That's the problem. 1, 2, 3 in the third. We go to the fourth. It is 1-1, Twins and Rangers. Heading to the fourth on Nolan Ryan Appreciation Day, as Nolan Ryan will work into his 4th inning. He'll face the man that did the damage against him, Shane Mack, with the solo homer in the second to tie the ball game. It is 1-1, and it still is from that point on. It'll be Mack, Harper, and Hale in the fourth. Twins have 2 hits, the homer and the double by Hocking. First pitch is low for a ball. It is very windy. And because of that, and the dust that's kicking up around behind home plate in front of the dugouts, every half inning, the ground crew comes out and waters down the surrounding area around the dugouts to keep the dust from blowing in. Here's the 1-1 and into the stands. High pop. Wind will take that one way out of play. There you see the jam-packed stands. Sellout last night, and 28,000 plus for the doubleheader Friday, and a sellout again today. Rangers will finally catch up with last year's attendance. Here's the 3-1, or 1-1, I should say. Fouled into the crowd. Oh, was that one a shot?
You know, go ahead.
I was going to say, up until today, they were running a little behind last year's attendance, but they've certainly caught it now.
And you get a feeling with the pennant race the way it is, they'll go well past it. Has Mack hit some bullets during this series? Golly. He hit nothing but ropes in the doubleheader the other night.
He's been a good hitter, is a good hitter. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Chopper to the right side, backing on the high hop, getting a true hop. Doug Strange fires it across, 1 out. Normally that's risky to back up on the ball, but Doug got good hops. There are 2 outs, and Brian Harper will be the catcher. Will be the hitter now. He's popped into the glove of Strange his first time up. Harper, a .306 hitter coming into play. Strike on the first pitch. He has not been able to throw any base runners out in this game. Rangers have 2 steals, but he is a hitter. Backed off the curve that was high. Nolan Ryan heading down into the final last roundup. Waited on a change. Oh, that was foul, and not by much. He waited on a changeup, and he just about got himself a double.
This will be the 55th pitch coming up for Ryan. That's not bad with 1 out in the 4th for settling in. If they're going to go 90 to 100 at that pace, Nolan's got a chance to pitch into the 7th in this game.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Harper. At one point this year, had a 19-game hitting streak. Show you the kind of hitter he can be. Went for a bad one. Pop foul behind the plate. Rodriguez. Yes, 2 down.
Boy, that is 2 trips for Harper and 2 jam jobs.
Today's game is being brought to you by Desenex. Desenex kills athlete's foot fungi before it turns ugly, and by Gillette Sensor and the new Gillette series. Gillette, the best a man can get. Chip Hale, who walked in the second inning, will get his second look at Nolan Ryan. Hale, during the period he played at Portland this year, hit 280. That was in 55 games before coming up in June. Hey, this is what Nolan needs.
Yeah.
And Raffy always takes care of his man and makes the play himself. 1, 2, 3. Nolan Ryan, again looking back at his great career, starting out with the Mets. All even 1-1 here in Arlington Stadium on Nolan Ryan Appreciation Day. The man himself is on the mound for the Rangers as they bat here in the 4th. Franco, Rodriguez, and Palmer up against Kevin Tapani, who has been superb since giving up a leadoff single in the 2nd to Palmer. He has 4 strikeouts out of 6 outs. Nobody else has been on base since that point.
We talked about Franco earlier, saying he'd like to play second base for somebody next year. Obviously, he's a free agent. He'd like everybody to bid for him. But he also said, this is interesting, you know, if the Rangers don't re-sign Palmeiro, if you want me to play first base, tell me so I can go to the Dominican Republic and play first base there in the off season to get ready for spring training.
To be honest, he ought to be going there regardless and playing something other than second base.
Yeah.
Foul back, 2 balls and a strike. Third base, first base, those are the 2 that you come to mind.
Yeah, to be really blatantly honest about this, Julio wasn't a good second baseman when he was healthy.
He had lost a lot of range. There's an update, simply the inning update, because it's still 6-3, and that is top 5.
Now, by the way, that should not be construed to say anything about his bat.
No.
This guy can hit.
When we're talking about him as a second baseman, we're talking defense only. There's a shot, and it's off the glove of Knobloch. He makes the play anyway. Chuck Knobloch staying right with it like a juggler. And there's 1 out.
Well, you're taught to keep it in front of you. And it took everything Knobloch had to keep this one in front of him.
Even had time to take a glance to see how much room and time he was going to have. Trick play, huh, Chuck? Here's Rodriguez, who flied to left, hit the ball high in the air with about the kind of wind we have now, which, if you look at the flags, is blowing toward left, but it's blowing so hard it's swirling. There's a drive towards center, deep. Becker, track, 2 outs. Here's the Coors Light upcoming Rangers schedule on HSE. Starting tomorrow through Wednesday, the Cleveland Indians will be in. Albert Bell and Carlos Baerga and company. Then a week from Wednesday, we'll be in Seattle to see the Mariners. That is the last game the Rangers play on that road trip before they head for Chicago, so it's a big one, and we'll be there for that one. Here's Dean Palmer with 2 outs. 1 ball and no strikes.
You know, the Rangers don't play many day games. Palmer has 10 homers in day games this year.
There has been a home run hit today, but generally speaking, the way the wind's blowing, you got to crush it. 1 home run that was hit today was hit right down the line. That was the home run by Mack. And the count goes to 2 balls and a strike.
Excuse me for thumbing through every note you have here, Greg. I'm trying to get the Rangers total in day games.
Oh, that page. Find that. I'm not sure if that page. That's a separate page today. Yes. Remember, everything ran over. We'll find it. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Ah, there it is. Attaboy, Greg. Thank you. Cubs played 31 day games, and Palmer has 10 homers. Well, it isn't hard to project that out to about a 55-homer season if they played all-day games.
Well, let's see. The Giants play a lot of them. The Cubs play a lot of them, so maybe he might want to.
And Greg, he's got 36 runs batted in 31 day games.
Foul ball. In this day game, he has 1 hit and a stolen base, single.
Don't ever trade this guy to the Cubs. That's amazing. In 31 day games this year, Palmer 10 homers and 36 runs batted in.
Oops, he forgot it was a day game. That retires the side.
Looked like he was in the dark there, didn't it?
As Tapani finishes with a strikeout, his second consecutive 1-2-3 inning. We played 4. It's 1-1 in Arlington. Mostly cloudy day with the sun coming through most of the time. However, here's David McCarty leading off the 5th inning for the Twins. Ooh, he fouls that one off Rodriguez. Rodriguez was involved in McCarty's first at bat as he hit a ball out in front of the plate. Was called out for either running into the ball while it was in fair territory or interference, but he was out. The put out went to Rodriguez. No balls and a strike. Well, he waited on that one, but he just bounced it to Palmeiro at first. There is 1 out. Join us at any Metroplex Bally's President's Health Club and receive a 2-week mini membership free. For more information, call 1-800-WORKOUT. Here's Norm now with the Bally's notes.
Seattle lefty Randy Johnson has 4 starts left, and he needs 38 strikeouts to become the 9th American League pitcher to reach 300 in season. Baltimore's activated pitcher Rick Sutcliffe, and they're saying that Sutcliffe will start in the bullpen, but could conceivably start a few games very late in the season.
If he's on target, he can be that veteran that can help them, although before he went out, he wasn't pitching very well.
A lot of that blamed on the knee that he had repaired arthroscopically about 3 weeks ago.
Stahoviak flied to left his first time. 1 ball and no strikes.
Meanwhile, hasn't Ryan just been terrific off the DL?
He's allowed only 2 hits. Unfortunately, one was a solo homer by Shane Mack. He's retired the last 7 that he has faced. But it's 3 balls and no strikes here to Stahoviak.
Across town, Carwell Gardner's taking a swing pass out of the backfield from Jim Kelly and scored. Carwell Gardner, about a 250-pound boxcar that plays fullback for the Bills out of Louisville, I think. And they lead the Cowboys 7-0.
3 balls and no strikes to Stahoviak. There's 1. Stahoviak, if he looks big, it's because your television is adjusted properly. He is. He is about 6'5", weighs 210, but hasn't really shown huge power numbers in the minors. And he's on. That's the 3rd walk given up by Ryan. He has only 1 strikeout.
That is now 63 pitches for Ryan here with 1 out in the 5th. No, golly, with as nice and breezy a day as this is. Uh-oh, here comes Kennedy.
I wonder if he called him. Well, they also have to be talking about a possible bunt here, and that's
you know, I don't want to be unkind to Nolan Ryan, who is a legend, but it has startled me the last year or 2 that people don't bunt Ryan more. How about you?
Yeah, he doesn't get off the mound as quickly as he needs to, and strangely enough, a couple of his last injuries have come fielding.
And Greg, if nothing more, you make him bounce around out there. You use him up a little bit more.
Well, they're looking for Hocking to bunt. He doubled the first time up. It's a hit and run. And a high pop bouncer to Palmer. The quick throw makes the play. Palmer made a nice play on that because he was coming in looking for a bunt, and then he had to backpedal and wait for that ball to finally come down. Meanwhile, the Rangers got hustle from their catcher and their shortstop. Both were covering third just in case.
Well, Palmer had the possibility of losing a ground ball in the sun there.
It's absolutely true. Well, Tom Kelly figuring they're looking for us to bunt, so we're going to chop the ball with a guy who can handle the bat a little bit, Denny Hawkins. Second base, Stahoviak now with 2 outs.
You know, if Hawking had hit that ball a little harder, Greg, that would have scored a run. If it hops over Palmer's head and rolls down the left field line with the runner on the move, that wasn't very far from a big-time play for the Twins.
Here's Knobloch, who is 0 for 2.
Swing at the first pitch. No.
This time he saw it was a ball.
Nobbers jumped on the first pitch 2 times in a row. And again, the Twins jumping on first pitches here. Ryan only used 9 pitches last inning, and this will be the 9th pitch of this inning.
Again,
the 10th pitch of this inning.
Again, though, he's got a runner in scoring position in a 1-1 game. Knobloch takes a strike on the bender. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Apparently there was no cause for concern when Kennedy went out to the mound because there's been no shuffling in the bullpen.
No, it must have been a strategy call because they were expecting the bunt. They wanted to be sure they were all together as to how they were going to play it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Overthrew that one, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Nolan, like most pitchers, would probably not have minded had Nolan Ryan Appreciation Day been a night at about 75 degrees. But didn't work out that way. 2 balls and a strike. Fouled into the crowd. It's even 2-2. It is amazing the number of people that were concerned about Nolan Ryan Appreciation Week during a week in which the Rangers were coming home in a pennant race. They better have one next time they come home because they haven't lost a game during Nolan Ryan Appreciation Week. A lot of distractions, huh?
Shoot, just pick somebody. Let's have a Mario Diaz Appreciation Week.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Imagine you could work up some votes for Rafael Palmeiro or Juan Gonzalez Appreciation Week around here.
The last homestand is pretty much Stadium Appreciation Week, as it will be the last homestand ever.
What a way for the old building to go out, huh?
2 balls and 2 strikes. That's fouled away. We told you the other day about the improvements they're going to have to make for the extra media and potential playoff and postseason media coverage and VIPs. Well, they're going to have to do that, and golly, if they don't actually use it, it would be like getting all dressed up for the dance and getting stood up in your best formal, and then your date doesn't show.
Yeah, but you got to understand, Greg, Rangers haven't even had a chance to go to the dance in September in the past. I mean, they didn't even know there was a dance most Septembers. And the
2 balls and 2 strikes.
Music drifted from afar.
There's a strikeout, a big one on Knobloch. Only Ryan's second, but when he needed it with a runner in scoring position, we have finished 4½. The Rangers coming up in the bottom with Hulse, Diaz, and Ducey in a 1-1 game. Here's our Gatorade game summary. Nolan Ryan has gone 5 innings, 1 run, 2 hits. 1 was a homer by Shane Mack, 70 pitches. Shane Mack's homer is the Twins' only run. The Rangers' RBI by Juan Gonzalez on a single. That was back in the first inning. The Rangers have done little since. Dean Palmer had a base hit in the second. That is it since. Against Kevin Tapani, who will face David Hulse and Mario Diaz, who he struck out, and Rob Ducey, who he struck out the last time up. All 3 of them. And he doesn't get Hulse this time. David McCarty will flip to Tapani, and there's 1 out.
We've seen McCarty at first base for a handful of games right now, and boy, he does not look comfortable as a first baseman.
Mario Diaz.
Toronto with a 4-1 lead over California. That's a final.
By the way, final from the NFL. Overtime field goals by Morton Anderson of New Orleans wins for them in Atlanta 34-31. And Jason Hanson of Detroit wins for them in New England 1916.
Diaz takes the first pitch for a ball. Kevin Tapani. In his 4th year in the major leagues, has a degree in finance from Central Michigan. Right side, Knobloch. He's making the Rangers chop it in the dirt or strike out, one or the other, and there's 2 down.
Greg, look at your score sheet since the leadoff single by Palmer. Strikeout, 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 dribbler to second, dribbler to first, strikeout, bounced hard to second, popped out to center, strikeout, bounced to first, bounced to second. Boy, it's been an easy 3+ for Tapani.
Here's Ducey, who has grounded out to second and struck out. He's done one of each. He's had the easy ground out and the strikeout. Tapani has 6 strikeouts. He's only walked 1.
Rangers don't have a hit since Palmer's nobody out leadoff hit in the second. They don't have a base runner since then.
Keeps throwing strikes, getting ahead. Tapani, Kevin Tapani. He was 16-9 for the Twins in '91, was Tapani. That's his best year, although he won 16 again last year. His earned run average was higher. 0-2.
Oh.
Foul ball, staying alive.
That was a I'm about to be out swing.
I better put wood on it. That's exactly what he did.
Ducey with a really good job of getting just a tiny little piece there. But sometimes the best swings you make in an at-bat are swings in which you foul off a pitch that the pitcher makes, a good pitcher's pitch.
That's a fair ball. No, just outside the line. The hands come up from first base umpire Drew Coble, and Ducey will have to try all over again. He waited on the pitch well. No balls and 2 strikes. Just missed the line.
From the Department of What I Did in the Offseason, remember when Tapani was involved in the big trade? He was part of the big package from the Mets to the Twins for Frank Viola.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, when you're a kid in the major leagues and you don't know if you've got a future there, you take anything you can. That offseason, he spent the holiday loading packages for Federal Express in Bloomington for Christmas, saying he was happy to get the $8.50 an hour.
Well, his regular season money hadn't kicked in yet, and he was ready for the future, perhaps. That's fouled away. A little inside out. Looper down into the stands again.
Tapani said, everybody at the job said, hey, wait a minute, you're a Major League Baseball player. What are you working here for? And he said, hey, I'm just like you. I need money.
The only difference is, like you, I get a lot during the season, but I must have spent it all. There's no balls and 2 strikes. 1-2.
Tapani, originally a second-round pick of Oakland. He spent 2 years in that farm system. Good heavens, Kansas City annihilating the Yankees, if you saw that score flash in there. And then he was traded by Oakland to the Mets along with Wally Whitehurst and Jack Savage for Jesse Orosco. And then 2 years later, moved on to the Twins in that big package of 5 people for Viola.
Another job of staying alive, another foul ball souvenir.
You know, the Twins made a great trade for Viola. I think you'd have to say that. Now, Viola's a quality pitcher, but in return for Viola, they get this guy who is the ace of their staff, and Rick Aguilera, who's the ace of their bullpen, along with 3 other pitchers, all of whom pitched in the big leagues.
Ducey takes that one low.
Tim Drummond, Jack Savage, and David West. And right now, David West is pitching so well. He's a key member of the Philadelphia bullpen. That was a good trade by the Twins.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, nobody on here in the 5th in a 1-1 ball game. Rob Ducey again stays alive.
It's a dynamite at bat for Ducey.
Rob, of course, actually came up to the Rangers when 2 things happened. Nolan Ryan went to the disabled list on the 29th of August, and David Hulse hurt his hamstring the second time. Both of those things happening about the same time, and that's what Ducey, when he got the call. That's a foul ball. That didn't miss by much. He's trying both sides. He's tried the right side. He's tried the left side. But at least he's still there. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and he's making Tapani have to throw a few pitches in this inning, something he hasn't had to do in the last 3. Rangers scored the run on a base hit by Gonzalez in the first, scoring Doug Strange, who had singled and stolen second. Shane Mack's homer provided the lone Twins run. We are at 1-1. There's a fly ball. He tried the center, but unfortunately skied it. Becker in center field. That retires the Rangers. We played 5. It is 1-1 in Arlington.